Hello everyone, I'm Roy, this is Val. We're here at Delphi at the Lansing Creativity Center.
Delphi.
I know, in case you forget.
I've never been in
like who you're watching.
I'm moving up.
This is the first time we let Val in this
That's
room,
right.
but
Yes.
we usually keep her somewhere else. But so today we're going to talk to you guys about, we got all these really great pre-cuts. And they're really used for fusing. I mean, they're for 90 or 96 COE, so all the pre-cuts that you see, there you can buy them in 90 or 96. And we thought, what a great way of using them. I think we've shown them before using mosaics out of them, which is another great use for them, but we thought, why not try them for stained glass? So we grabbed a few of them, and we got some soldered together. I think I'm going to do a little bit of soldering just to show you guys.
Well, before we can see, these were just the stockings, just to kind of show we kind of did repurpose them for. These could be like little name tags. We soldered a ring to the top. The poinsettia, that's not easy to cut out all those little pieces by hand. So that was pre-cut, foil it, solder it. It's going to be tacked onto soldered onto that candle shelter, but I mean they're quick and they're
quick, right?
And they're often little pieces that you don't really want to cut yourself.
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was doing some of these. I was like, yeah, look at the cardinal, right? Isn't the cardinal's pretty nice? So what's really nice about as we were looking at some of the pre-cuts that we had, we stumbled across here's something else that we sell here at Delphi. This nice little branch, right?
Look,
this
it's
casting.
got little legs on there.
It's got little legs. Right?
Isn't that cute? I think it's adorable.
It is really adorable. And then the cardinal with this pre-cut cardinal, we thought, wow, it fits almost like the perfect size. So Daisy made that, if you guys were wondering. So she did
it
a
black,
great job.
which is a nice look.
Nice touch. And then we just found that stand laying around here, just to put it on. But hey, I see you're getting me a present. That's what the tag says, right?
I guess it
says
does.
To Roy Bell. Look at this, nice.
What's this one say?
That one. To Ryan from Mom. So.
Oh, guess we did.
Must be Kaylee. Well, that's nice. Ryan's getting a package.
From me. No.
Also from Beth. So, while we were going to show you some of these things, we wanted to talk about some of these. We got some brand new products in from Creators. Creators Stained Glass, if you're familiar with them, they have a lot of innovative products. But here's a foil holder, which is sort of nice, right? So you can put in, you can see 730 seconds, right? And what's really nice is it's a great way of kind of keeping your foil in one place, especially if you're working. I know like a lot of times when I'm foiling, it's nice to be able to just pull it. It's not going to get all tangled up.
No, I think something to have your foil in that allows it to feed out like that is just makes a difference between night and day. Because if you lay this on the table, it'll just uncoil and then it gets turned.
All over the place.
It gets turned backwards when you're trying to use it. So something that you can just pull out and have this all stay intact. This pulls out all nice and even, so you're always facing the right direction with the foil. And we put out a couple other things. This is the same idea as this.
Where this one goes in here.
Not quite as fancy, but
it goes in here, and there's a slat. I think you can see it all the way on the bottom.
Where
the foil comes out, so you could feed it in there first. I'll just do that real quick. Right, but sort of the same concept. Right, this one you could do multiple. Multiple rolls of foil. It's not this. I saw this one too when you were looking around.
Well, I thought it's an option. Some people maybe don't like it, but it does have different slats for the different size foil. Then it has a place for, whatever
all your
Sharpies
tools, right?
or whatever tools you have. And does this have what's over here?
Is that you can put your soldering iron in there. Soldering iron stand, right? So if you're looking for a quick gift or a stocking stuffer, right? So I think a lot of these tools would be great for the stained glass person in your life that you want to give them something. The other thing that Creators came on with is a couple. You want to show me that burnisher, right? So you didn't grab that.
It's right there. It's by your glasses.
Oh yeah, this one.
Don't tell me I didn't grab it.
I thought you were going to grab the roller one.
Oh, we didn't have it.
Oh, there you go. Well, this is brand new from Creators. So what's really nice about this tool is it's actually two tools in one, and I'll let Kaylee manipulate it however she wants. So this end down here is a crimper. So once you get your foil on your glass, like the bevel here, right? So this would come in and you could roll it around and it will crimp or fold the foil onto the bevel for you, which is nice. The other thing I found about this, which I think is really cool, is that you can move these little wheels. So depending on depending on, I guess one of them moves. Yep, there you go. Depending on how wide the glass is, so you can adjust it for the, for the width of the glass you're using.
Oh yeah, so if
which
you're
is
using
really
a
nice.
thin,
Yep,
yeah, sure.
exactly. Yeah, because the bevels often are thinner right on this end, and so I pinched it in a little bit closer, and then when I just ran it around the outside of the bevel, and it crimped it pretty nice. The other end is a burnisher, so you can come in and burnish the foil, right? Rub it all nice and flat on this. It has a couple of different, it's rounded, but it also has a couple of flat spots on it, so just depending on what angle you're trying to get at, it's kind of helpful. Also has this handy little soft foam thing here, which is
Makes it
comfortable and easy for you to kind of hold on to.
Yeah.
But that
is kind of nice because it does push the foil down on both sides at once, as opposed to, sometimes with your fingers you have to kind of go back and do each one.
You do one side and you flip over, have to do the other.
Yeah, but that's nice.
This one does both sides at the same time.
And this is new as well.
Yeah, this is new. This is a foiler. So I know that a lot of people struggle with trying to center their foil onto their glass, and so this is a foiler that is hand foiler that's supposed to do that for you. They come in different sizes, so then you would buy one depending on the width of the foil. This I think is 7/32. I think is what we're currently using right now. So
it's kind of our go-to. It's kind of our standard go-to size.
it is sort of the standard.
However, I did use smaller on these little guys.
You did?
I did.
Oh.
Because it just depends on how much overhang you really want, and I didn't want to bunch. Sometimes the smaller of the piece of glass, sometimes the littler foil you would use just so you don't have as much overhang, because there's not a lot of glass there. You don't want to cover up a lot of your glass, right?
Yep.
Especially on your little.
Oh gosh, these things were so tiny, right? So I was again, these are all pre-cut, so I mean it'd be really kind of a challenge to cut those out by hand, or if you saw the Christmas trees, which for you guys are upside down. You could see that would be like near impossible to cut out unless you had a saw or something fancy. So it's kind of fun, and I'll show you in a minute what we're going to do it with Christmas tree. But the handy foiler here.
Yeah, stay tuned because it's real exciting. It really is. It really kind of is.
So
right?
don't take a nap.
I think so. I think it's way cute. Way cute idea.
Oh, do you?
Stay
Great.
tuned.
So
yeah, it's mine. It's my idea.
So it must be a great idea.
It's a wonderful idea.
So we're going to feed it in through here. There's a small little slot there in the back, and then this feeds in through there. And then this, I can tell you for people, most people, the hardest part about this tool is just getting it started. It's just getting the foil started. So once you get it started, though, then it's really pretty easy. And this is probably a little easier if I had a pair of scissors, but I think I can do it without it. So you want to peel off the back. Sometimes I just leave it like that. Sometimes I'll tear it. I think it's easier if you just tear it so it's a little shorter than the foil. And then now you got to back out. And you want to back out just till you see the paper. And you see where the paper's at there. Now what happens is when you pull this foil, it automatically pulls the backing off for you. And you see how easy that is, right? So then you got to get it through here. Sometimes it's easier if you turn it kind of sideways, and then I got to pull a little bit more and then push it through. So it comes through there, right? And then you want to turn it so that this part is also tricky for people. The sticky side, so here's the sticky side, right? So the sticky side needs to be facing here. So that's like that on that side. I'm just trying to make sure everything's pretty nice and straight. And again, when you're using this, it really does help to have your foil like in a holder of some sort, because as we've mentioned before, if you just kind of leave it on the table, it gets all kind of twisted, and it makes it really hard to use this tool when you're doing that. So now it's sticky on this side. I don't really have a piece of glass to foil.
Grab one of those guys from your pre-cut bag.
Let's
Good thing you're here, kid. Gee, that was
not just because she's behind the camera.
Staring. I didn't know what to do.
And I know, hey, if you guys have any questions while we're doing this, you can always, make a comment in the video section below, or you can send us a message on Facebook or Instagram.
Or email us at facebookdelphiglass.com.
Nice.
You got it.
Thank you.
So it's also kind of nice.
Yeah, show them
is
how
that this is kind of pinched a little bit, so it does actually grab your glass pretty well. And then, but better than I can get it. Then you got to kind of get it in there, and then you just. So I'm using my thumb here. I'm pulling and kind of pulling this through as I go. And
so handy.
I mean,
it
it's
really
super
is.
handy.
It centers it so well.
Yep.
That's sometimes
on these really sharp points, I'll pull out a little bit so I can kind of get it in there and then come back in and start it over again. Just you'll find that sometimes a little bit easier. I mean, this particular piece, to be honest, is because of these really aggressive inside curves here. Makes it a little bit of a challenge, but it works. You know, it's actually pretty
No,
nice.
it's doing really well,
Right.
actually.
Sometimes you got to hold it with your finger as you come around there, come up here. Like I said, on the sharp points, it's better. It's almost easier to pull out a little bit and then come back in and do it. So.
And all of these from creators should be here next week. So in time for
That's
Christmas
the thing
even.
about These are brand new. In fact, we just
These are our
put
samples.
in and
That's good. You did good.
yeah, right. So,
It works really
anyways, you can sort of see it, and then if you start or crimping it around, if I had the handy dandy crimper, right, we could come in here and crimp it, and you can see how it's going to fold that right down onto the surface of there. Right, and then what you do is you come here and you would cut it off, which normally I use scissors, but I'll just tear it with my fingers, right? But you guys get the idea how that would line up, and then you come around, crimp everything. I could come back in and use this other end and burnish it, make it all nice and smooth.
And while you're doing this, Helena says she has a hard time with deep curves tearing the foil.
Oh man, yeah. So.
So do we.
So do we. Everybody does. So I'll show you real quick. This is what I do. So like on this deep inside curve, there's a couple of deep inside curves here, right? So I take the tool when I'm doing this, instead of trying to just aggressively fold it flat to the glass, I will just bend it a little bit. So I'm kind of bending the foil at, like a 40 or a 45 degree angle. Then I do it again. So what I'm really trying to do is stretch the foil a little. And then when I get it kind of bent over, then I'll go onto the glass. Can you see now how I can go onto the glass and I didn't tear it? So it's just, gradually, instead of being, like out here, I can go right down, I can crimp it and burnish it right down to the surface of the glass without any problem because it's not going to tear. But on inside curves, so I'm being kind of dramatic, but you can see how the angle is, right? So come here first, then gradually go a little closer to the glass and eventually go, flat to the glass. And it's copper, it's a metal, so it will stretch a little bit. And if you're real careful, you can do it without tearing. If it does tear, you can piece it together, right? I mean, I think we've all done kind of patch it. Yeah, so cut a little piece of foil, lay it over where it's torn, and I use an X-Acto knife and just trim it off. So, so instead of trying to cut like a perfect paste, just put a big piece of foil on there and trim it back with that.
Or don't try it, because it's once you've gotten this far too, it's pretty stuck in a lot of places. So it's really a pain to try to pull all of it back.
Yeah, don't pull it all off.
So I don't recommend that. I would just patch the little split and try to burnish it down, and then you gotta have to be a little careful going over it. You don't want to overheat it with your soldering iron, but that tends to work usually pretty good.
Yeah, you're gonna solder over it anyway, so no one's gonna know whether you patched it or not. So.
Before we move on, Vicky's got a question. Do you have the spool holders available? So these from creators are going to be here next week.
Yes.
But we do have these guys over here.
Yeah, this one we have in stock right now. This one, if
all this stuff
you're interested,
creative,
the creator stuff.
This
one is actually, it comes as two pieces, so it comes as the holder and then the stand is separate. So like you can buy the 7/32 one, and then you can buy a 1/4 inch one. So you're not buying two stands. You buy a stand separate, and then you buy these
wheels
that
are
separate.
the size of the foil.
Yeah.
But they are on our website in order if you want to pre-order those.
Yeah, you can pre-order them if you like. Any the new creator tools, you can certainly pre-order, and they're supposed to be in before Christmas is about.
Yeah, next week, so they should be available for standard shipping.
Yeah. So there you go. So,
okay, we'll just slide this.
Yeah, we'll slide those out of the way. I got a soldering iron plugged in. If you're interested, if anybody really wants to know, it's a Hakko soldering iron. One reason why I was using this one is just because the Hakkos come with these nice small little tips.
If I can get it to
and I'm going
focus.
to try to do some little bit of more delicate, almost like tack soldering kind of stuff. And I just find that the smaller tip is just easier. Thanks. Yeah. Oh, first though, I didn't tin these on purpose. If you can see, like these light bulbs and the trees are already silver in color because I already tinned them, and then I was going to tin everything.
Tinning just simply means turning it silver with the solder, not building up any kind of, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We're just turning it silver.
Yeah. The point is just to turn it silver, and I was going to do that beforehand, but then I thought, oh, maybe people would like to see that, so I didn't tin all of them. So I'll do it real quick just to show you how easy it is. So I'm grabbing a small amount of flux, right? I have a little bit of flux in here. Flux the foil. Again, these little things are kind of hard to hold on to.
My goodness.
But we're gonna flux it. I think I might hit that bubble too, just for the fun of it on the outside. We'll flux this. And then all you need is a small amount of solder onto the tip. I might need more than that because this tip is kind of small. But anyways, I'm just gonna grab a small amount. Just come in here.
Keep your fingers out of the way.
Yeah, this piece is so small that, you know, obviously it's going to get hot, so I can't really grab it with my finger, but you can see how just that little bit of solder I grab turns all of this silver. Same thing with this one, only because sometimes when I get done, I'm just going to leave everything silver, and I just want to make sure everything stays that way. Especially here, if I solder these to the bevel, you know, well, from the back side anyways, you would see all the copper foil, which I don't know how much that might bug you, but it would bug me, so. Same deal, right? So you can see how for the most part it's pretty fast. And actually, you don't really want to linger too long here.
You want it to go fast.
Yeah, you want it to be fast, because if you go too slow, you can actually start to melt some of the adhesive from the foil, and then the foil start to pick up, and I don't really want to do that. I just really want to, like, so I got solder here.
Yeah.
And again, here I'm not really so concerned about it, because I'm going to do some soldering to this, and then I can, if I make something, if something looks lumpy or bad, I can always fix it later. So I'm really just trying to make it all look silver real quickly. So you can see, relatively short amount of time. On this one, I'm not 100% sure what I was doing with this.
Oh, you're gonna save the tree for last?
Am I?
Oh, I don't know. What do you?
I don't know.
You're not putting a tree on here, right?
I'm not putting a tree on there, no.
How much?
I was gonna
we should do the tree.
do the tree. All right, well, I guess we're gonna do the tree. So here we go.
I'm really
Oh.
it's cute as heck.
Yeah, so we have these two trees, right? So this is the way it comes in a package like this, two different size trees, and then we were thinking, you know, what a great idea if we would use the one tree as a base to hold up the other tree.
That is so cute.
And then we're going to use it like as a place marker or a name.
Yeah, a name tag for
name tag,
like a place setting.
A place setting, right? So
Yep.
that's Val's idea. I was really, you know.
Brilliant.
Well,
right.
because someone said, "What are you going to do with that little tree?" And
That's what I said.
I don't know what we're going to do with it. And then
She
it's
said,
so
let's-
cute. It's a
Let's
cute
do
little
something
combo.
with the trees and then.
So I think that would be a kind of a cute thing.
And it's nice because there's a nice big open spot here
Yeah,
to like write
to
somebody's
draw.
name or
Yeah.
to put something on there, right? So where's, I need some solder, sorry.
We just use Sharpies on that. That's what we used for these gift tags here.
Right, but
You could enamel or
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you really want to, or use, I thought about the PBO paints. If you're familiar with PBO paints, they tend to be a little bit more permanent. But all I did was tack solder. I know it might be hard to see, but I just tack soldered right where the tree is, you know, where the trees touch, and then you can see how that holds up, stands up. And as
and
I
you can see
mentioned
how
before,
difficult that was.
Yeah, that was a
Not-
challenge,
I mean,
right?
that was.
I probably should have done this a little
Well, that's
bend
okay.
back a little bit, but that's all right.
And can you tack it in the middle? I can't see if you can tack it in the middle too. I mean, just to give
I
it a
think
little
I
more
can.
support. You don't have to,
I don't
but I'm
know
just
what I
saying,
can see.
if you did it, if you could tack it in 3 spots, that would be.
Yep, I can. I got it.
And obviously, I mean, you're not going to be able to pick it up and wiggle it. Or
Yeah,
anything,
you're not gonna be able to.
You'll tear the
I mean,
foil.
Yeah,
but,
you gotta be careful. You'll tear
but
the foil,
I mean,
but for the most part,
just sitting there.
yeah, it just sits on there. I was going to. The other idea we had was to put some little decorative ball chain on here. You know, to sort of make it look a little more decorative, right? Kind of have some of this stuff looping across the top, which we were going to do, but it probably would have been easier to do it when it was flat. But
Might have been, but that's okay. I was impatient.
that's quite all right. But you guys get the idea. I am going to use the ball chain for the lights here, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I have, you know, so often around here, Val and I, we, you know, come up with some ideas about things we want to do, and we unfortunately don't always have the time to maybe take them a little further along into fruition. I mean, Val's in class today, so she's just on her lunch break, and then I know Kaylee was waiting on customers about 5 minutes ago, so it gets a little hectic around here sometimes. So what my thought was to do something like this and solder the ball chain, you know, kind of back and forth, and then attach, you know, the lights to them.
Yeah, that's cute. We have
Is that-
time.
is
You're
that
going to
what-
do it?
Yeah, do I have time to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, then let's do it. I guess we have time. So this is a nickel ball chain which solders together. Oh, I'm using a bevel which already has a hole in it, which is sort of nice, right? So we were thinking you could hang this as a sun catcher, or I guess you could hang
Right.
it into as an ornament.
We
in a
were
tree.
kind of heavier for an ornament.
Yeah, that's
we
what we
were
were
thinking.
thinking,
A sun
right.
catcher.
Yeah.
If you had a few of them, they'd be really cute.
So I'm going to flux right where I'm just going to, so basically, again, I'm just doing what I might call more like tack soldering here, right? And normally when I'm doing this, I have something that usually I'm holding on to the
Yeah, I
onto
know.
the
We
chain
didn't
with.
bring any kind
Sorry,
of
we didn't. I
pliers or
wasn't
anything.
thinking ahead, but let's
See
pretend.
if you can do it. See if you can
Let's see
hit
if I
it
can
without
do it without
moving it.
Yeah,
Just an
it's
added
possible.
excitement.
I know. This is the fun thing about live stuff. You just never know.
You
Actually,
want me
I totally changed my mind.
You could just, put that there.
That's what I'm good.
Oh, okay. Oh, good job.
Right?
Yep.
Look at that. Just like I knew what I was doing. So I just tack soldered. You can see how that's just attached. Then my thought was to come over here somewhere, maybe. I don't know. Do you have any idea? I'm just gonna go kind of back, zigzag across.
Yeah, that's what I
is my
thought
thinking
too.
was.
So, because the thing, no matter,
And then I was just gonna solder some of these onto the.
so
ball
like
chain.
you want to do a little swag like that?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, swag it.
Okay. We're gonna.
We're gonna
Which
swag
is a technical term
It is.
in the soldering.
in the world of glass soldering.
So Flux, right? Flux, our friend. They come in and grab some. Look again. The one reason why I like about this Hako is the
little tip.
The little tip. It just makes it easier to get in there.
Yeah.
You know, grab as much solder, so I'm not going to have a lot just kind of.
Yeah, and some people,
going all over the
that
place,
use a soldering iron that has a big tip sometimes struggle, and I think sometimes they don't realize that you carry as much solder as the tip is wide.
Yeah.
So if
good
you
point.
really are going into a small place, man, you should get some smaller tips, because sometimes there's just no way to be real dainty with it when you have a really fat tip, because it's just going to carry it.
I decided to cut it.
Okay.
So
I
what's
think
nice
that's
about the
better,
ball
yeah.
chain is if you can cut it in between the balls, using a wire cutter. This is all I have in here. There's a wire cutter down in these pliers. When I was trying to bend it, it would have created a loop, which might have been all right, but I don't know. For some reason, that was bugging me too. So then I'm just going to come in and tack solder this here, and then we'll come back over to that side. I'm not going to do I probably won't do the whole thing. I'll just do a few, and then I'll attach some of these to it, and you guys can see what that's like. So. Come in here. And fire away with questions. You guys got any kind of questions?
I just got to be careful not to melt the one you just did.
Yep, that's gonna be the.
Oh, well, that's okay. Yeah, I would. I don't know if any people know who do this kind of thing too. Know that sometimes you just cut your losses. You don't keep messing around. If you get it to be,
You go and then you're done, right? So.
yeah, because if you keep playing around, you're going to start melting things you've already done.
That,
That's fine. I would just do that one and then
I
go
gotta
ahead
attach
and.
some bolts to at least one spot here and there. So. Okay, that's fine. And feel free to steal our ideas. I know that they're so good that you don't need to pay us any kind of compensation for that. I think this piece will be on our website for sale probably later today. Just kidding.
Yeah, right. It won't be finished probably. Okay,
so there's that. Yeah, and then now I'm gonna be able to.
Yeah, and when you hold it
So
up,
yeah, the thinking
then
is
it'll see how it's
see the
swag.
how
It's
they
really
kind of loop
shows
a little.
nicely.
Is that what we're
Then
seeing?
this one, really, if we're going to do it, this one could go back down.
Mhm.
That's what I'm doing.
Right.
Wait.
Yeah, so we could just cut it off, I guess, and then we could try that again. I know we got stuff to do, but anyway.
Okay.
So then I'm just going to come in and solder one of these on, and I've noticed that.
Do you want to tin the edges?
Yeah, I noticed that on these, I was tinning the surfaces, but I never tinned the sides of them. So let me just tin a couple real quick.
Yeah, so we'll see how.
I'm going to be fast.
Well, you can do it.
Thanks. Thanks for the vote of confidence.
When you do this kind of thing too, use gravity.
Yeah.
Don't hold it the wrong way because
Right.
it'll drip on your hand. So think about it.
Good point. See how I'm holding it, right? So I'm working the iron away from my hand. I'm not doing this and trying to go right on top, right? Because that would be probably not smart. So sometimes you have to. You don't have
Like I
a
say, in all
choice.
this, you can just follow that by saying, "Ask how we know."
Trial and error.
That's right.
Time we weren't smart.
Burn your finger once you go.
Helena has a nice comment. Your website helps inspire us with new ideas. Well, thank you.
Oh, thanks.
It's fun to work with a bunch of creative people that we get to share all their fun ideas.
And for some reason, I got like a weird little lump in there. I don't know what's going can't get that spot.
Well,
It's almost like concave or something.
yeah, it's like it's dented in.
It is.
I would flux it again. I use more flux than you do.
I know. All right, we're gonna flux the heck out of that one. Just turn to get a tiny bit on the, there we go.
But truly, that is another kind of thing that we say,
You know, if you're really struggling and one part's not covering with the solder or it's keep, you know, just add a little more flux. Sometimes can be the magic ticket, right?
Yeah. That's why I say flux is your friend, right? When you're trying to solder. So then I'm just doing the same thing, right? Fluxing up everything. You've never said that? You don't.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Must have been you.
Well, if you want to borrow it,
Okay, thanks.
You can. So this part gets a little tricky because I got to kind of keep these together. But if I kind of hold my finger, I can probably then use the iron.
And you have probably 3 seconds before you have to let go, before it gets hot.
Ta-da!
Yeah, that's good. Nice.
Marilyn is asking how we would hang that. So we've got a little hole in the bevel
yeah, can you see
here.
that?
But what happens if there wasn't a hole?
Well, if there wasn't a hole, yeah, Val and I had talked about this earlier.
So cute.
I mean, there's a couple things we could do if there wasn't a hole, right? I mean, we could buy
Yes.
a drill bit and a diamond drill bit and drill our own hole, or we could put rings on this. I mean, it wouldn't be an impossible thing to do. Thanks for the question, though, because that's a great question. Is that if I put a ring right here, it's just going to eventually pull the foil off, right? Because there's nothing really holding the foil on. If I was going to put rings on them now, I would try to get them at least to maybe where the ball chain was at. That might help provide some strength. The other thing you could do is wrap this with wire and then attach rings that way, so then the wire around the outside would add some strength to it.
The ladder chain would be a good option there too.
Oh yeah, the ladder chain.
Ladder
I
chain
thought
would
about
be a
that.
good
We use
idea.
that a lot of
Then-
times. So.
For me too, I'm not a big fan of the metal rings, and sometimes I'm not a big fan of the whole drilling, even though that's pretty simple to do. I mean, there's always a way to do it, but you know, I like a lot of our findings.
Oh yeah, you mentioned earlier
You know,
for jewelry.
I
That's a
like
great
that
idea.
look way better. You know, so this is a little heavy, but if it didn't have a hole in it, I might. Glues are pretty good now, super glues and.
You could do that with the stockings too. You could have done a bail.
Yeah, could have done
a
for
bail,
that.
and to be honest, you know, we sell those too. Obviously, lots of places do, but they're usually a base metal. I mean, they're not expensive. You get a whole package of them, and I just think it finishes the look nicer. That's what I prefer. But
Yeah, I remember you said that earlier today. Yeah, that's a great idea. It's and I'm with you. I think normally that does sometimes give a little bit better. Doesn't it? I'm just soldering another one out. I'm not gonna do the whole thing, but I think you guys kind of get the idea. Just wanted to put a couple on here. So, and I'm just holding it here. With the iron, I'm actually grabbing the ball chain and pushing it up into that. But you can see how quickly. I mean, I don't know. The guy didn't tin that really very well, but you can see how quickly that solder's on there, right? I mean, that's on there. Those are on there.
Cute. Vicky is asking, could you use ball chain and wrap the beveled glass?
Oh, like all the way around the outside? You certainly could. Yeah, that gives a really nice kind of a fun look as you fill in some of the holes with solder. You get this decorative sort of, almost looks like you soldered it with all these little balls on it, which is
foiling first,
cool
though,
look,
and
then obviously, foiling, right, and then putting it on there. I mean, right? I mean, I could do this sort of a concept. I have a little bit left over. I'll show you. Well, I think this is probably what you're talking about, right? It's doing something along this line, and then soldering that around to the outside, which would just kind of
And
again
would be a tax,
give it a little bit more.
another tax situation, right? You wouldn't like try to run a bead of solder all the way around it, or would you?
Well, it depends. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I try to. I know it's hard to see, but there's like
Enough of
a
the-
hole, like down right up against the bevel and where the gap is between the balls, and I try to fill that with solder. So I guess that's maybe a little more than a tack solder. but,
Cool.
Yep. And then we would just, I would add more onto this, right? And we talked about adding another piece of chain on even, and then, maybe sticking some more on. Maybe I would stick one up
Could
here
I do
even,
like
or whatever.
this, maybe?
Yeah, or like a couple, right? So, yeah, it's whatever you want to do.
Yep.
You could,
Play around with
I like that double look there. So one of the things here that I wanted to just talk about real briefly was about cleaning this. So, right, so I'm using flux, so we have to neutralize the flux, so we have to use a flux cleaner. And I grabbed one real quick because this one I find a little more friendlier for certain types of applications. So here, I'm trying to keep this clean, but I'm getting flux, underneath the each one of these things and underneath where the ball chain is at. So sometimes cleaning it with traditional flux cleaners and a small brush is not always super easy. This one, I can just spray the whole thing. In fact, I'll just I'll spray this one real quick, just to show you how easy it is to clean it, right? So this one, I don't have to scrub it, I just have to spray it. And then so what that's gonna do is hopefully get under there, or I can even pick these things up and spray them, right? And this is gonna neutralize the flux in there. You don't even have to rinse it with this particular quick clean, I think, which is the nice thing about it. So, I mean, I use this and I use the other flux cleaner all the time. Like I said, for me it depends on the project. I just find this cleaner I find a little easier and friendlier to use. And then, like I said, you don't even have to dry it, rinse it. You can just wipe it off, and then you don't have to worry about it. You can polish it, do whatever you want at that stage. But,
yeah. Nice. Okay, is that good?
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Next week we're going to be back
we're going to be back next week, right? We're trying to cram in a couple of weeks here before Christmas, because we figure nobody wants to see us on Christmas. But,
right.
Next.
What we figured.
That's what I said.
Next week is another quick project. We're going to do the fused wreaths from scrap glass.
Yeah, we're going to show a couple of projects that are done with just some scrap.
We found a couple other things.
Yeah,
cool.
And, that we can do quickly, right? So we figure this is the time of the year where you're just trying to do a quick little gifts
and scrap. To use scrap, that's always
a great idea.
Good thing to know, because you just can't keep every little piece until you realize you have a use for it. So that's what we're going to do next week.
All right. We'll see you then.
See you guys.
Thanks.